Hi friends of Jubilee Plus, welcome to this week's Monday Mercy video. This morning I want to talk to us about something that's in Deuteronomy 15, where God basically tells his people that when there are people in poverty among them, around them, he says, don't be hard-hearted and don't be tight-fisted. I love the fact that God knows us so well. I love it that he knows all our flaws, all our imperfections, all our sins. He knows the ways that our hearts lean. And so he knows that he needs to tell his people that when there are people in need around you, you might be tempted to be hard-hearted. You might be tempted to be tight-fisted. But what God actually says to do is open your hand and lend sufficient for his need or her need, whatever that may be. It's interesting as well that God also says in this passage, don't have an unworthy thought. Don't think about the fact that it might be close to the Sabbath year. Something we've talked about in one of these videos before. God is saying, don't think, well, the Sabbath year is just around the corner, so I don't really need to help right now. They'll be all right. Something will work out for them. God says, don't do that. That's an unworthy thought. But God says, go ahead and lend freely. Give freely. Don't let your heart be grudging when you do it. God knows what we're like. God knows we'll try and find any way we can to get out of helping other people. Maybe you're much kinder than me. Maybe you are just generous all the time and you never get hard-hearted and you never get tight-fisted. But I know that in my own life, there are times where my heart hardens towards people. It's so easy for that to happen. In fact, it's something that I think happens more naturally for me than softening my heart. So softening my heart takes work. Softening my heart takes effort, but hardening my heart seems to just happen of its own accord. I don't really know why it's like that, why it happens that way, but I know that it can be so easy if someone has hurt me, or I feel exploited by someone or used, or I feel like someone's taking advantage of me, or I feel like someone just keeps making the same mistakes over and over again, and why haven't they learnt their lesson? I find that my heart can grow hard, and then that can lead to like a tight-fistedness where I think, well, I don't want to help, or I'll help you but I'll do it grudgingly. And I love the fact that God says to us here, don't do that. Don't let that happen in your hearts. Don't harden your hearts to your brother or your sister. Don't let that happen. But actually give sufficient for their need. God calls us to radical generosity, and sometimes it's so costly. Not just generosity of money, but even generosity of heart and attitude and mind can feel so costly. It can feel painful to us. But actually, God is calling us to a much higher standard. I read something this morning, actually, that said God isn't calling us to do better than the society around us by 10%. He's calling us to be the difference between light and darkness. And actually, when it comes to helping people around us, when it comes to staying soft-hearted to people, maybe even people who've hurt us, actually, God is calling us to a much higher standard. It's not simply do a little bit better than some of the people around you. It's not actually compare yourself to the people around you. It's actually look to Jesus, look to God's standard. And God is merciful and he's gracious. God is soft-hearted to us, tender-hearted to us. Aren't you grateful for that? I am so grateful that God does not harden his heart to me and that he is not tight-fisted towards me. And I want to imitate him. I want to do my best to try to be as closely following his ways as I can. And I don't always get it right. In fact, I'm sure I get it wrong more often than I get it right. But I want to take this call in Deuteronomy seriously today. I don't want to be someone who lets my heart harden to those around me. Even if they've made mistakes, even if they've made the same mistake over and over and over again, even if they've done something that I'm like, ouch, that hurts, or that's costly to me, I'm affected by their actions. No, it's got nothing to do with that. Actually, whether we're hard-hearted and tight-fisted has nothing to do with actually what the person in front of us has done. God doesn't set it out like that. He doesn't say if they do this or if they do that or if the timing feels right to you. What he actually says is it's because of who he is, and because we're his, we seek to imitate him, we seek to be like him. Because he's merciful, we get to be merciful like him. Because he's tender-hearted towards us, we get to be tender-hearted like him. Because he doesn't harden his heart, we shouldn't harden our hearts. Because he doesn't act in a tight-fisted manner towards us. No, he's liberally generous. He's lavish with us. It says that he's rich in mercy. He's not stingy with it. He's rich in mercy. In fact, I've just been reading in the last few weeks, I've been kind of camping out a bit in Psalm 40, where it says that as for God, he will not restrain his mercy. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't withhold. He gives lavishly and liberally. And we're called to do the same. So what an opportunity for us. Again, this week we have an opportunity to step out and out of our comfort zones and to keep our hearts soft. So if you know that actually you've become hard-hearted or tight-fisted or both, then why not just spend some time right now repenting, saying sorry to God for that, asking him to do a work in your heart, to keep your heart soft to those around you, to give to those in need freely, sufficient for what they actually need. And as you do that, there's a promise that God will bless you too.